Hello and happy Wednesday. I am Kat Kruger. My pronouns are she, her, and I was a little delayed here because of some technical difficulties, but I'm here. I've been off from Game Design Lab for the past couple of weeks. It's just been a little bit busy. Um, I've been interviewing for a job unexpectedly, which requires it required a big writing test. But I'm back, and of course, this week I'm back, and I'm solo parenting for the next 7 days. So a bit frazzled, but I am back to do some game design lab and talking to folks on Discord. I think we're going to do some more collaborative world building. So we've been working on this world. I'm not even I think we named it in our last session. It's called The Crossing. So named because it was founded by goblin healers, and it used to be called Healers Crossing. Um, so we're in this little um, seaside community, sheltered by a mountain range. There's a lot of goblins in this community. They celebrate kind of science. Um, we in our last session we decided we were going to create a holiday for this community, and it became a very science-based, like research-based um, holiday, which I think is kind of unique. They were It's all based on like a month-long of festivities, using the scientific method to apply that to life and learning. And um, yeah, I thought it was really cute. Thank you, Ezra, and welcome to chat. So with this little community, it actually started because when I started Game Design Lab, I asked for everyone for their input, and it started with a little goblin artificer named Dahlia Stonefell, and from there we've been able to design that NPC. We've designed what we thought was a villain, an artificer, goblins only chat. Latina geek. We designed what we thought was a villain, who was the artificer, but his motivation was actually because he was um, trying to help his brother, who is actually under the control now of the actual baddie. Um, and this baddie is Frederick Serpentine, who is, we started off making him a vampire, but he's more like a snake type vampire. So it's, if you imagine a naga and a vampire melded together, that's what this bad guy is. Good old Fred. Not allowed to call him Fred. Unless you're on his, yeah, if you want to get on his bad side, right? Um, what else have we designed? Oh, we also designed a location, a couple locations. So the lair for Frederick is, so this world is sort of like an urban 1920s fantasy world where the magic exists. And so, what better place for a lair of the bad guy than an abandoned potion making factory turned into a very fancy, swanky loft space? So that's the lair of Frederick. And we also created a location called the Trash Pit, which is, I don't think outside of the Artificer, it's known as that, but it's like this hidden cave in the forest where he's been dumping magical reagents. And unfortunately, it's had an impact on Dahlia's sister, who's forages for mushrooms, found the cave, found these mushrooms that um, have caused something to happen to her. And I think we're eventually going to get to that part of the story and world here, because she's become gravely ill. Um, but long after the fact, so she doesn't think that it was mushroom-related incident. Um, but today, I think the idea that I got on Discord was that we're going to build more on the world. So, with that in mind, um, I believe that yeah, there's an ad break. All right, gonna just write in chat here. Going to design some beliefs and cultural culture around the area. All right. So it looks like the ad break is going to wrap up in a few minutes here if you are in fact seeing an ad break. Yeah, so we're gonna design some um, belief system and culture around the area. Um, so I think a couple things that I should mention, um, if you're not caught up here, is we in our last session we had talked about a couple of neighbors for the crossing because they're um, surrounded on one side by mountains and on the other side by ocean. So their neighbors are there's ocean neighbors and mountain neighbors. And in the last session, we said that in the ocean, we didn't really develop it very broadly. Another thing that we can do for another session. But in the ocean, we've got a neighboring underwater city, and their trade is mostly in seashells and probably some other aquatic supplies. It's lived in by merfolk and various fish folk. I'm imagining also like I don't know, like otter folk and things like that. Um, just to make things a little bit different. And also in the mountains, we've got an underground city. So we're thinking kobolds and maybe like shrew or vole type people. I noticed we didn't mention any dwarves in there. So I think it's just like smaller creatures smaller humanoid type creatures that live there. Um, and they trade for root vegetation and minerals. I think that's really handy when it comes to um, what the crossing might want in terms of potions and supplies and things like that. So, we've got three different communities here. They're all interconnected. So, we want to develop, what are some of the um, belief systems of these people. So I think in the ocean, they're going to value um, probably things that are different than land dwellers. It's going to be things like maybe the moon because of the tide, and then in the mountains, like I'm feeling like there's not going to be a lot of like sun related things in the mountains, or even moon related things. So I think we can just sort of feel free to jump in and talk about some of the things that um, come to mind here. I know with the crossing, I feel like if there were going to be any deities in this fantasy world, I'm not really sure if. I think with the crossing, it's probably going to be very like science based. So if there's a deity of knowledge or learning or something like that. Um, so I've got the crossing. So the community is focused on magical healing, um, knowledge seeking, and innovation. We can probably say that some members of the community believe in a deity, or do we necessarily make it a deity? Um, in Discord, it was the suggestion was religion. Doesn't necessarily, I don't think all of these communities need to have a lot of religion tied into them, particularly this one. Um, hmm, maybe they believe in a living force, not to be confused with the force. Living force. And this living force um, that causes I don't know, what is it when like you have that feeling that you're really inspired, um, um, like a maybe like a rush of endorphins or something, and that results in like creative energy that often results in creative energy, and perhaps they just call it the muse. So it's not just scientific. Um, in this case, it's just all knowledge. I think it's fair to say that this little community, you know, it's very focused on um, magic and healing in particular. But I think because of the festivity that we created a few weeks ago, um, it's also about like just embracing new things and innovation. I just need to deal with my dog for one moment here. All right, sorry about that. I am back. Yeah, just juggling a lot this week with partner away and solo parenting and like an old dog. All right, so where were we? We were looking at uh, the crossing. So This community is focused on magical healing, knowledge seeking, and innovation. Some members of the community believe in a living force that causes a rush of endorphins that often results in creative energy, and they've called this the muse. Um, so I think it's not necessarily in this community's case. This is not necessarily a deity. It's more of a um, it's just they believe that there's some sort of actual um, force in the world, um, an energy. Now, I think we could talk about our our old pal Frederick Serpentine. Um, what do Nagas generally believe in? Or we could move over to the ocean um, and mountain communities. Um, we haven't even named these communities yet uh, because we were looking mostly at the um, festival. I'm not even sure why we started talking about these other communities, but I guess it was just like a moment of brainstorming to talk about what we could potentially branch out and do in future game design episodes. Um, so I'm thinking let's maybe tackle some of the ocean community beliefs here. If anybody has a name, feel free. I'm going to start with the ocean unnamed city. And we did say that they trade in seashells. I am imagining all of these communities basically being very peaceful with each other, and so the trade that they have is very I don't know, like symbiotic. Like there's a lot of things that they can't produce themselves that they get from these other communities. Um, but their lifestyle and like their actual physical environment, it works for each of the communities, and there's not necessarily a lot of like going back and forth. Like, um, let's see. So seashells. I think the moon is probably um, something that they um, again, if not worship, then it is, like it is a literal force of nature um, that they are certainly aware of and respectful of. Um, so I'm going to write here the trade in seashells, maybe like seaweed. Um, I put sea glass in here too, sea glass. Um, they value, or not value, but they hmm, have a deep understanding of the um, Effects of moon on tides. Some worship Luna. Maybe Lunella after Moon Girl. Then we've got Mountain, Unnamed, Underground, City. Now this one, I think, gems, it's a funny thing because gems have like value in our world, but um, they really serve no purpose. I feel like in these communities, um, I think I want them to value things that have a little bit more purpose. I mean, gems are beautiful to look at, but art is as well. So I think they're probably going to value minerals more. Um, so I'm going to reiterate what they trade in. Trade in um, root vegetables, minerals. I think if I put like stoneware and um, what do we call metals that you can make things with? Maker. I'm just going to call them maker metals. Maker metals. So what's their belief system about? I feel like there's got to be something about um, sunlight sort of being the antithesis of their existence. So what does that mean? I think at the same time, I think that they could, be like the dwarves in Tolkien and, create these beautiful underground cities. So maybe they are also architects because in order to dig and create like these solid passageways, you need to have that sort of architectural knowledge. architects who are revered for their ability to um, create safe spaces for the community. Um, some believe, oops, the sun um, is, the sun is what? The sun is deadly and fear, um, sun related. Um, beings slash magic items. All right. So I've got the start of some belief systems here that we can expand on and maybe, you know, add some more festivals and that sort of and holidays. Um, and some of these could, help adventurers in, coming into a community to better understand the people. It's just a start of some lore here. I would I would like to name a couple of these neighboring communities though. Um, so we have the crossing. I don't know. Um, Ocean City could be. Just delete this here. Um, Something like the reef or coral. Coral. We can add ville or ton or something like that to the end. Coralton, Reef Town, Reef City, Reef City. Um, uh, Coral Haven. Think about the same for this mountain place as well. So how we got to the crossing was was that it was founded by goblin healers, and it used to be called the Healers Crossing, um, and eventually just, the word healer got removed. And now I'm thinking, what who would have founded this ocean, community? Probably mer people or maybe the fish folk. Um, Maybe we can use sea glass in there somewhere or shell. Um, and then for the mountain, we've got it's an architect. It's soundly architecturally built. So I think this could have a more interesting name. The halls of something. I was thinking it was underwater because of the people, the humanoids that live there are we've got merfolk, we've got some sort of fish folk. I'm also thinking maybe like we could have some like otter type people in this community. Um, I'm sort of imagining like, all the structures in this underwater community are built from the things that you can find underwater. So, um, see lots of like sea glass windows and um, small groups of each different people coming together. Oh, I love that. I do love that. So let's think of something that sort of means like, coming together. Um, I'm gonna just go into a thesaurus and throw out some words that often helps. So community or communal, association, center, district, society, commonwealth. Um, Association. Also, let's look up communal for some other examples. Communal. Um, Cooperative. Not a lot of thesaurus words for communal. Um, Something cooperative. I do like the combination of commonwealth and the idea of it, but like I feel like there's a lot of in real world terms, there's a lot of like colonial implications there. Um, uh, you're gonna have to pardon the pun, but I was thinking communicy instead of community, synonym of union. Here we go. Let's try that. Um, Compound, confluence. I like the word confluence when it comes to water. Um, Harmony. unity, amalgam, together. Yeah, merge, union, um, nothing is leaping out at me right now, but if anything has struck you, um, amalgamation, confluence, symbiosis, unison, unity? Oh, yeah. Confluence of, yeah, confluence of, oh, okay. How about this? Since some of the folk here worship Lunella, what if it's like Lunella's confluence? It's like the powers of the moon brought all these sea folk together to create this beautiful community together. Just gonna move this down a bit. Lunella's confluence. Oh my gosh. Confluence. All right. So we have another name here. So we have the crossing, we have Lunella's confluence, and now we need a little mountain name. And this one is underground as well. Um, I like the idea of this one being something like grand sounding, like the halls of something, or what else? Corridor, something corridor. To do with shade or darkness or um, not hiding per se, but like, sort of staying out of the light. Shaded, dusky, but maybe the dusk corridor. I don't know. Maybe it sounds like you're dying if you're going through the dusk corridor, though. uh, um, it could be the halls of dusk. feel like we only have a few minutes here before I have to wrap up. I think I'm gonna go with Halls of Dusk for now. Could always change it. Halls of Dusk. All right. Halls of Murk. Oh, Halls of Murk. Murky corridors. Halls of Murk. Yeah. You know what? I think Murk can also be used as a figure, maybe. I looked up some synonyms for dusk. Yes, my favorite thing to do when coming up with these types of names. I like the idea of using the word merc because I think it could also be a person's name, um, and that way we might have like a founder of this community or a renowned architect named Merck who came up with the blueprint for um, these halls. So I like that a lot. It has a double meaning where murk is, darkness and shadiness, but also it could be, the figure that came up with this. All right, so in less than an hour, we have created, a little bit of lore for the crossing, a little bit of what they believe in terms of, like I said, like I wasn't necessarily going to go down religion for all of these communities, but especially because of the crossing is very science focused. So the this community of the crossing, they do believe that there's this like real living force that is the cause of um, creative energies in people. In the ocean, we've got Lunella's confluence. And these people have a very deep understanding of the effects of the moon on tides because that's where they live, underwater. Um, some of the people there do worship Lunella. And then we also have the mountain community, underground community in the halls of Merk. And many of these people are architects, these kobolds and vole people are architects who are revered for their ability to create safe spaces for their community. And some believe that the sun is deadly and fear sun related beings or magic items. And now we also have the name Merc that we can play around with um, as we sort of uh, continue to develop this really kind of cute little world here. It's like an urban fantasy 1920s uh, setting, um, and I'm looking forward to whatever we do next. Um, so yeah, this is usually open to suggestions when I log into the stream. Sometimes online or on Discord, people will come up with ideas um, to develop things, and we've done like things like stat blocks for we even created a what was it a bard of the College of Chaos, and things like that. So sometimes it's world building in this little community, and sometimes it's just other things that strike my fancy. I think I did uh, I made a micro game in one session too. So, yeah, thank you for joining. And I hope that I should be able to do this again next week. And if you're interested in contributing some ideas on what to do next week, let me know online. You can find me, all my links are at steampunkunicornstudio.com. And usually I'm just Cat Cricker in other places. And this Friday, I should be doing my Crafternoon stream, and that's just cross stitching to lo-fi music while we chat. All right, well, enjoy the rest of your week, and thanks for joining.